Hey everyone, I'm here today to talk about the HEXTON Hills Kickstarter. Let's start off with the disclaimer. I'm not part of the Kickstarter. They're not paying me to make this video. They're not paying me if everyone watching this video jumps in on the Kickstarter. I have no affiliation with them. But let me tell you, well, let's do the quick version for people who say sometimes I talk too much in the videos. Quick version is this is amazing hex tile terrain, incredibly detailed, prints very, very well. You can fit 2 tiles at once on any standard resin printer. Detail is amazing. I'm gonna have pictures coming up. It's a Kickstarter I really think everyone should back. World map. If you play Settlers of Catan, this works for that. A conquest type map if you're playing Warhammer with a friend and you're taking over territories and moving armies. D&D overworld map. It's just brilliant. So anyway, I think there's a lot of uses for it. But and so for the people who like just the quick hitter, jump to the end of the video. You can see pictures of the tiles and pictures of my speed paint job on them, which even with my crappy painting, looks pretty good. So everyone please go back to this Kickstarter because I want these creators to make more stuff for me and for all of you too, but mostly for me. Anyway, so now I'll get into a little bit longer version of why I love this Kickstarter so much. So for me, people who don't know my history, I played a lot of games and I was a very big Warhammer player. And I bought a ton of GW stuff, I painted it up, and I was very excited when they came out something called Mighty Empires, which were like hex tiles, not quite as detailed as these, but it was very exciting for me because I'm someone, aside from miniature war games and all that stuff, I also just like miniatures. So to me, just like a really shrunk down city, forest, and it's just really cool to see miniatures. I mean, I'll admit, I even like, looking at like an intricate dollhouse to me because the miniature stuff just fascinates me. But anyway, so back to Warhammer. So I wanted a campaign style. I was doing with a friend a campaign, so you can mark on a map like territories you've taken over, where you're moving your armies and all that stuff. So when Games Workshop came out with Mighty Empires tiles, I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. 3D tile that I can use to make a map, and that's way cooler than a paper map, right? I mean, for me at least, I thought it's just amazingly cool. I know they made a game off it. I didn't play the game. I just want the tiles for map making. And I wasn't really playing much D&D at the time then, so I didn't really think of like overworld map for D&D. But those Mighty Empire tiles would have been great for that too. And then, don't want to get into it too much, but I had a fire in my house a few years ago, and basically all my Warhammer stuff was burned or destroyed. So, gone. So, flash forward, and I was so depressed I didn't get back into Warhammer because all the painting I'd done, all the time I'd spent, the thought was too depressing. Anyway, so I guess about a month ago, 6 weeks ago, every week I cruise Kickstarter looking for 3D, and when I cruise, I'm not talking like a perv hanging outside of like a grade school. I'm talking cruising for 3D projects. And I came across HEXTON Hills, this Kickstarter. And as soon as I saw it, I thought, oh my God, Mighty Empires from Games Workshop. Except these tiles were way more detailed, way cooler looking, and had way more depth. And by depth, I'll say height variation, just more 3D-ish. And I was like, oh my God, this is what I lost in the fire, but these are like way better. So I immediately went to test the test tile, and when I did, I can't remember, it was the fort, which I'm not holding in my hand, but you'll see pictures. I printed it was gorgeous. It was everything I'd hoped for, even better. The detail came out so good. You'll see the picture at the end. Detail came out amazing on this tiny little tile. So, and here's one of the perks, I guess, of having a YouTube channel. I reached out to the creators and I said, listen, I love what you're doing. Like, these tiles appeal to me like crazy. I said, but you've advertised them as pre-supported. And I know, you get pre-supported stuff from various Patreons, Kickstarters, artists, whatever. A lot of times the supports, they're not really done right. Or something might say you don't need to add any supports, but then you find islands, you find this and that. So I thought, let me ask for these. I just wanted to test, several different tiles to make sure they were supported properly. That was my motive at the time. And then the creators were nice enough to send me files to test, which I did. And the more that I printed, the more I just fell in love with the tiles themselves, which I knew was going to happen, I guess. So as that happened, I said to the creators, which is a Graven Guild, 2 very nice guys, I said to them, listen, I would like to test more of your stuff. I said, I'll post pics to help you out for free. I'll even make a video because I'm so enamored with these tiles. Like I want to print a bunch of them. I really do. And plus I'll test them all to make sure that they really are supported properly and you're not advertising pre-supported models, then people print and they have errors, right? That you don't want. So they agreed. They were nice enough to start sending me tiles as they proofed them and tested them and then sent them over to me to make sure everything was okay. And so I've been printing them up. And the tiles are as amazing as they looked on the Kickstarter to me. The detail on them, and again, you'll see close-up pictures because obviously you can't see it like this, but the detail is amazing and resin printers pick it up great. To my surprise, a few people, since they put out sample tiles, more than a few people, printed them in FDM and they also came out great, much better than I thought they would. But for me, if you have an FDM printer, back this, you'll get great results. But to me, resin is, I mean, then it's just amazing what you get. So again, D&D, I'm using these right now to create the D&D overworld map. Right now with my group, I hand draw the map, or sometimes I print one out. If I find a good map on the internet, I'll use that. But other than that, and when they're moving, I don't like to write on those maps. So I have like a 8.5 by 11, just like a white sheet of paper. I'm drawing all with a marker. Like a city is like a circle. The road is one line. And hey, it worked. Look, you can play D&D totally theater of the mind. You don't even need any visuals, but human beings were visual creatures. So to me, being able to make my world map out of these tiles, friggin' awesome. The other great thing is, and I have a video on this, you can speed paint these tiles. And again, you'll look at the pictures at the end, all the tiles I painted were 5 minutes or under. And I think the results are pretty good. For someone who's not a great painter, if you look at them, especially a few of them put down together, looks amazing. And for it to be your map, it's truly incredible. So I just think there's a Kickstarter everyone should back, because I was already thinking, like, as soon as I saw the tiles, first of all, they've unlocked a zillion stretch goals, which is cool. But I was thinking the expansions, we need like a Hobbit, we need like the Shire, you know, whatever you would quote unquote call it, the Shire. Well, we need halfling Hobbit holes and all that stuff. We need a whole elven forest with all kind of elven structures. The dwarves need, you know, mountain strongholds with statues outside and all this cool stuff. Orcs need all these orc encampments. I'm not just thinking there's so much they could expand onto this. Plus what? Like, I don't really play Starfinder. I'm trying to get into it, but whole sci-fi expansion, whole sci-fi worlds with tiles. So it's like a limitless expansions they can do. So I want these artists to make a ton of money. I want everyone to go back their Kickstarter because I want more stuff. I'm greedy. I love this stuff. Everything they do, I'm going to back, because if they keep doing this kind of quality and just make different kinds of tiles, what's not to love? So anyway, that's it. Stay tuned. Let's look at the pictures and see what you guys think. And I even think some people might say, well, I don't have use for this now. I don't need it for a D&D overworld map. I'm not really playing any fantasy battle game where I do conquest and need to conquer areas of a map, and I don't play Settlers of Catan. That's a funny one. Settlers of Catan, I always heard the name, didn't know what it was, and then coincidentally, due to COVID, when my son came back from college early, he's like, oh, I discovered a new board game that's really good. I was like, what? He's like, Settlers of Catan. And I was like, oh, that's interesting, because I said, I'm looking at a Kickstarter where the tiles I think are compatible with that game. So he thought it was really cool also, but I don't play the game, but I know lots of people do, but these tiles could be used for that as well. So anyway, that's it. Stay tuned, look at the pictures. And again, I'm not affiliated with this Kickstarter. If none of you back it, it doesn't affect me, except, like I said, I want the artists to get more money and make more cool stuff for us. Other than that, I don't care. But I really just honestly think this is like amazingly good stuff. So that's it. Thanks for watching. I'll be back with some instructional videos soon. Again, I have a Patreon. I know times are tight, but if anyone wants to support me for my testing and investigations, all that stuff, and also, you know, just making tutorials, maybe buying some better equipment, a better mic and stuff like that. My wife wants my hobby to support itself, not me supporting the